welcome to my channel, Stepiphenie's Wake. Right now, I have this goal of doing kind of a reference video. And this is important because I want to explain a little bit about how I work, what I do, and just how it applies to you. I am in a new space. I have a new plan for how I want to move everything forward. And it is going to impact anybody who's watching in a few different ways. So I wanted to lay it all out and get everybody on the same page. And this way that when I'm doing readings and I feel like I need to go back and explain something, I can kind of just reference this video so that hopefully you can get the full scope of what I mean when I say certain things, instead of having to turn, a 7-minute reading into like a 25-minute reading so that I can explain this all. So the first thing I want to touch on is this is a safe space. This is a judgment-free zone. People have a lot to say about lives they haven't lived before, and I am just here to help everybody sort out what they are working with. Whatever got you there, however it got you there, yeah, it can't be fixed until you recognize the problem in the first place. So one of the ways that I use tarot is to create a template, a framework, a structure that you then kind of input your own scenario, situation, information into to help you solve problems. So I'm not going to predict the future. I'm not going to, I'll never say you have to do anything. I will say I encourage you, or, shoulds, I did away with shoulds forever ago. But I will always encourage you, or hopefully give you the tools to empower yourself to make the decisions that you know for you. But one of the things that I use tarot for is to kind of pull things out of your subconscious that you may not always think about. So if I'm doing a reading, I only take cards if they flip or fall. And I do that because I believe in divine intervention. I believe in divine orchestration. I believe that angels can absolutely, angel, source, spirit, creator, whatever you want to call it. I use those words all, not so much angels, but source, spirit, God, universe. I use those all kind of interchangeably to talk about an overencompassing, authoritative, creating being. I'll use the word energy a lot because it's the most politically correct thing I can use to talk about what I'm talking about a lot of times. Because we're all energy, everything is all energy, whether, it's a manifestation in a human form of energy or it's an emotion. Emotions are energy too. So I'm going to talk a lot about energy, and that's what the cards are. The cards all have energies and associations to them, and based on what flips or falls, I kind of lay them out in a designated spread that I have to kind of pull messages that I'm receiving and kind of formulate them into a thought thread. And that thought thread is going to be kind of general, but if you're listening to it, it's going to spark your mind to work in ways and to think different thoughts that apply this thread to your fabric, to your situation. And again, I can't necessarily tell you exactly what's going on all the time. Every reading might not be for you, but at least you can maybe input different information that's going to help you see things a little bit different. And based on the cards, I can say whether it's, a job or work-related reading. I can say whether it's a relationship kind of reading where, maybe it's a friendship, a lover. It all depends on what falls out in the cards. But again, I only give you the template. I give you a framework. It's up to you to figure out what it is that you're dealing with. So with that said, not everything is going to resonate with you all the time. Not everything is going to be from start to finish absolutely perfect, your situation. And that's okay. If it does, and I do that for you, I love it. That's awesome. But sometimes all you need is one little line or one little sentence to help you recognize and see a situation differently. Because once you recognize it, once you see it, once you know it, a lot of times you can't unknow it. And when you know better, do better. So a lot of times people find themselves in repeating cycles and repeating situations because they know better and they're not doing better. They recognize what they need to do differently, but they keep putting it off. And if you keep doing that, you can never really fix whatever the problem is, and you're going to keep getting more of the same. And the universe, every time you do that, the universe is like, well, we got to up it again. She's not getting it. He's not getting it. We got to up this dosage. And that's how people find themselves in situations that are so overwhelming and so heavy. And it's kind of, that hindsight's 2020. When you look back, you're like, wow, if I just, done that differently, or, taken some time to heal myself before I did this, I wouldn't be here right now. And we're all a product of our decisions. We all do what we think is right. Sometimes we do it for the wrong reasons, like, living to please other people. And that's a kind of an underlying theme that I might bring up a lot too, is, whatever is right for you, only you know what is right for you. And yes, sometimes it's going to hurt other people. Sometimes it's going to piss other people off. But in the end, you need to live the life that you're meant to live for you, or you're going to be experiencing a lot of hard stuff until you figure out what it is you need to do for you anyway. I mean, I feel like this path that we're on in this life is all to shape us for a positive outcome. But sometimes people try to put off, having to do hard things because they don't want to hurt other people, or they're scared to financially fall, or whatever it is. There's a million reasons why people don't honor the path that they know is for them. And I mean, I'm still kind of in the thick of that for me, but all I can say is everything that I've gone through has made me the person I am now, and I'm really proud of that person. It all had to happen, and some of it's really terrible. Some of it is dark, but I wouldn't have learned any other way. And now I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, I feel. And I'm happier, and I breathe lighter, and I don't wish I could die anymore. So that's a really good change, if you ask me. So with that said, this isn't all love and light. This isn't all everything's perfect all the time. This is real. This is authentic. This is truth, my truth. This is how I feel. I'm not going to censor myself. If I swear and you don't like it, I'm sorry. If, I say something that's off color or politically incorrect, I'm sorry. I have a message that I need to communicate. And so that's what I'm, instructed or nudged. I'll say nudge a lot to do. I follow my nudges. So sometimes I reach out to people randomly because I follow nudges. I don't believe in coincidence. And so if I get this download to do something, I follow it. And anytime I didn't follow, what's funny is anytime I haven't followed those nudges, it went the wrong way. And so that's kind of where I've learned. I pay attention. I'm conscientious of it all now. So moving forward from that, I do have a new way that I want to handle my readings. And a lot of people sort their readings out by astrological zodiac sign. And I'm going to do the same thing. But I encourage you to understand that you are so much more than just your sun sign. Just because when your birth date is, and you've always read your horoscope for one sign, doesn't mean that that's all you are. So there are a bunch of websites that you can go and look up your natal chart, your birth chart. And I encourage you to do that because it's going to give you essentially the recipe for you, hypothetically, supposedly. And I'm going to say hypothetically, supposedly, coincidentally, all the time. You're going to get sick of hearing it. I don't believe in coincidence. I don't believe in supposedly. If I'm saying it, it's because I believe it. But I need to say those things often enough so that I can sound like the smartass who points out how crazy and silly it sounds. So supposedly, your birth chart is a recipe for you. And yes, your sun sign is a big part of that. But there's so much more. Like your moon sign is going to tell you about your subconscious, your habits, your feelings and emotions and how you process and handle them. Your Venus is going to tell you about your, actual relationships and the way that you love, the things that you value. Your rising sign is going to tell you about how the world perceives you, strangers see you. It's like the mask you wear in public. So all of these things are important. And what that means for you as I'm working forward in my way of doing things is that if I post a reading for a sign and you're just a Leo, and you're like, oh, I'm only going to watch the Leo one, I encourage you to expand your horizons a little bit. Look up your birth chart and see if there's other placements where the title or the image or the thumbnail image of the video stick out to you. And even if none of the signs are in your birth chart, if the title sticks out, if you look at the songs that are listed in the reading, if those stick out to you, that's all important because it may pertain individually to you. And now when I say if the title sticks out, whenever I do a reading, I always have, music playing in the background. I have a reads playlist. It's got like 500 songs on it. It's always on shuffle. I'll start a reading by figuring out how many songs I have to skip to get to, where we need to start playing music. And it's all over the place. But the songs will be in there. The image would probably be something significant. But if the title of the reading, maybe you hear this line in conversation or on the radio, or maybe one of the songs that's in the reading happens to be playing at the grocery store, or it flashes you back to this concert that you went to that you had the best time of your life or the worst time of your life. I don't know. It's little things like that where they're minor, but they really matter. And those are the things that a lot of people call coincidence, but I don't. It's those things. Music kind of time stamps space. And so I use music as a way to, if you watch, if I post a reading and you watch the Gemini reading, the day it comes out, and you hear these different songs, and then, maybe 3 weeks later, you back up. If you hear those, listen to the reading and you're like, oh no, this doesn't really resonate with me. But then 3 weeks later, you're in the grocery store and you happen to hear one of the songs in that reading, and it triggers your mind to be like, oh yeah, I remember hearing this somewhere. I encourage you to go back and watch that reading then, because maybe it resonates differently. Maybe something is, unfolded in your life where whatever I said then makes a little bit more sense in the future. And that's what I mean by timeless. If I say all my readings are timeless, it's because just because I put it out, today doesn't mean it's only valid for today. It could be something that happened in the past. It could be something that's happening now. It could be something that's happening in the future. It could just be something that, use your best judgment. If you have any questions about that, get hold of me. My contact information is below. Stepiphenies_wake for Instagram. Stepiphenies Wake is my Facebook. Feel free to ask questions. That's what this is for. But nothing is coincidence. Time is an illusion. I do believe that. And so, yeah, if however it resonates with you, don't make it fit. If you're watching a reading and I'm talking about, it's for your sun sign or whatever, you feel like it, it's meant for you, you like the image, you liked whatever, but it's talking about having babies and you're like, no, I'm not having a baby. Don't make it fit. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. If it's not for you, don't finish watching it, but see if there's another reading or another title that sticks out to you. I know that I don't have any Leo in my chart, for example, but I've identified, the attributes and characteristics of a Leo are, really courageous and really, empowering, powerful. And so sometimes, if I'm feeling that particular way in what I'm doing, I'll be drawn to watch a Leo reading. So I encourage you, follow the nudges. If you're curious, watch it. If it doesn't resonate, don't make it fit. But if you want to hear a story, that's ultimately what these all are. They're stories. So, feel free to tune in. But if it doesn't resonate, you don't have to tell me. Just, if you don't like what I'm saying, don't watch it. If you don't like the way I do things, go find somebody that you do, because I may not be the person to give you your messages, but I'm here for somebody somehow. And even if I only impact one person on this planet, I've done my job, because if I can help you, every interaction, every person that you encounter from there on out, it's going to be a more positive encounter. A better you makes for a better everybody, and I'm here to help the highest good of all. So with that said, my beliefs get a little bit cloudy. I know that I can't appeal to everybody, and I'm not necessarily trying to. Again, I'm not here for the likes. I'm not here for popularity. I'm here because I truly believe that I have a way of delivering messages that a very specific population will benefit from and needs to hear. So if you're here, I believe that there's a reason you're here too. Nothing is coincidence. The universe planted you on this earth for me to plant this seed in your brain, and hopefully it grows into a better you. And I'm not saying you're broken or anything's wrong now, but there are always things that we can do differently. There's always ways to improve. And don't be offended if I say something that's mean. My intention is never to badmouth anybody, but sometimes I am going to say things that are direct. Sometimes I will say things that, if I'm trying to describe a crappy human, because they exist. I've encountered many of them. I'm not going to censor it. I'm not going to be kind about it. Like I said, this isn't all love and light. This isn't all happy butterflies. This is, some dark, heavy stuff. But the more you try to sweep that stuff under the rug, it doesn't go away. It just continues to manifest itself into your experiences moving forward. And you're going to keep getting more of the heavy darkness until you process it. And that's the only way that I can really explain how I feel about that. So when it comes to what I believe in balance. I believe in karma. as a form and means of energy balance in the universe. So kind of gravity says, what goes up must come down. When it comes to karma and energy, what goes down must also come up. It's a balance. So if you're having a really, really, really great life and everything's awesome, I hate to break it to you, but that might not last that long. We're all always going to be experiencing challenges and new things that are meant to teach and shape us for the better. And learning how to handle and navigate those situations is a lot of what I believe being human is. In my channel, we don't lose or fail. We either win or we learn. And that's why you'll also hear me say, when you know better, do better. Because if you know better and you choose not to do better, that's when the universe is like, run it again. This person is still in this cycle. We need to get out of it. So that may not make sense to you now, but I promise you, the more, if you choose to, subscribe and watch what I'm doing and what I'm putting out, you'll understand what I mean. And if you've ever done a reading with me one-on-one, yes, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So I am a spiritual person. I'm not a religious person. Like I said, I use source, God, creator, spirit, universe, all relatively interchangeable. I believe in spirits, not necessarily ghosts, but I can connect and communicate. I have received messages. I have people who can advocate for me in their experiences of doing so. Again, if you're curious about that, feel free to get hold of me. I probably am not going to do that as much here because it's a mass audience, but I always begin a reading by opening myself up to messages, inviting Archangel Michael in, and asking for clear and direct messages for anybody who is watching for a specific sign to move forward in a positive direction for themselves and for the highest good of all. And that's really important to me because, like I said, a better you makes for a better interaction from there on out. And that's what I mean by ripples make waves. I may only make a ripple in your life, a little ripple of change, but it's going to make waves of change as it gains momentum in the world. And so I titled this Stepiphenie's Wake because I want to make waves of change, and you're all part of my wake. So thank you. Thank you so much for believing me. Thank you for being curious. Whether you believe in me or not, thank you for being curious at least. With that, I believe in karma, believe in balance. I pray, I ask for angels. I know angels walk with me, and if you've heard or if I share some of my experiences, you might understand why too. I've said before I believe in magic, but I didn't specify. I believe in magic only because I absolutely believe in black magic. And again, it's one of those things where if I shared my experiences with you, you'd understand. And the law of polarity says if the dark exists, the light has to. And because I know that energy can be manipulated for malicious and malintent ways, it can absolutely be manipulated in benevolent ways as well. So call it what you want. At the core of my being, I know that I am a good person, I have a good heart, and I don't wish ill on anybody. I wish them the situations and people that they need so that they can learn that some of the things they do are unacceptable. But I don't wish ill, because whatever you put out, karma, whatever you put out, you get back in threefold. And that's the universe's way of really teaching you, no, you can't do that. I believe a lot of what all of us have to learn here on this earth as being human is to not let the negative encounters and situations you have turn you negative yourself. It's to never wish ill upon anybody else. And I will say that I've been angry. Don't get me wrong. I'm not perfect. I've been angry. I've been hurt. I've been wronged. And even in those moments, the worst I'm going to wish on anybody, may karma have no mercy on those who wish ill against me. And I'm sorry if you've ever thought that I'm anything other than, a good person. I'm sorry if, part of my experience with you was needing to learn what a good person was, depending on what side of that you're on. I've got nothing but love for everybody. I know what it's like to be in the dark. I know what it's like to have nobody. I know what it's like to fall flat on your face. And I don't want anybody to ever feel like that. Do I recognize that some people need to learn the hard way? Absolutely. And I'm here to be a light for you, but I can't do any work for you. I'm here to plant seeds. It's up to you to water them. So with that said, a lot of times in readings, as things come up, depending on, different decks I use, different messages I get, I am going to encourage you to do your own research. I'm not here to tell you how it is. I'm not here to say, this is law, this is how it is. I am here to plant seeds. I'm going to put you on a track, but it's up to you to do the driving to get you wherever you need to go. And hopefully it's to a better place. That's not always the case for some people because they know better and they don't choose to do better. And I can't take responsibility for that. We are all a product of our decisions, of our actions, and all of our actions have consequences, whether they be good or bad. So with that said, I encourage people a lot of times to do their own research. In my work, the way that I do things, I work a lot with signs, numerology, synchronicities, spiritual meanings of things. We have the world at our fingertips right now, and its name is Google. And you are always encouraged to do your own research. I can't say that enough. So if I'm doing a reading and I say, go look up the spiritual meaning of a bear. When people think of a bear in their minds, you may think of a grizzly bear. I may be thinking of a black bear. Somebody else may think Pooh Bear. Somebody else may think of a Grateful Dead bear. They're all important. Trust the nudges that your brain serves to you. They're all important. And when I say bear, I encourage you to go do your own research and look up the spiritual meaning of bear, of whatever bear you thought. And even down to like the different meanings of, those specific animals. Like a grizzly bear, for example, means that you're being, overly aggressive or overly protective of something. And a black bear may mean that you're respecting an authority figure and you're being grounded in your situation. While Pooh Bear might, you might just be looking up, I don't know, a crop top or Pooh Bear's birthday or something, or, the town that the artist of Pooh Bear was made in. Or if you think of a Grateful Deadhead bear, maybe you think of a Grateful Dead song that has a lot of meaning to you. All of these things matter. So any reading I do, yes, it's a template. Yes, I'm giving you a framework, but it's up to you to fill in the blanks. And trust your brain, trust your mind, trust what your intuition serves you, because it may be minor, but it matters. The titles, the words that I choose to use, that's why I don't censor things. The words that I choose are specific for whoever's watching, for whatever message that you on the other side of the screen need to hear. And I use specific words for specific reasons, whether they're entirely correct, politically correct, or not. So additionally, with that said, everything that happens in a reading is part of the reading. If, my phone goes off, my phone's always on silent, by the way. So if an alarm goes off or it starts to ring, if a dog barks, if the doorbell rings, if, whatever it is, if I spill something, it could be anything, but it's all part of the reading. If I fumble my words, if I call something the wrong thing, it all matters and nothing is coincidence. So I encourage you to pay attention to those things as well. So with that, when I talk about synchronicities and signs and that timeless factor, if you watch a reading and, Pooh Bear, for example, go back to Pooh Bear. I don't know why Honey keeps kind of jumping out. So if you go back to Pooh Bear and, maybe you're like, okay, whatever, it's stupid, I'm not going to pay attention to Pooh Bear in my head, why'd that pop up there? And then you find yourself kind of, you missed your exit on the highway and you find yourself, on the wrong road, and then you are following this car that's going 22 miles under the speed limit. It's driving you crazy. And when you finally get the chance to pass them and you happen to see on their, their side window that they have a Pooh Bear sticker there. That's what I mean when nothing is coincidence. So one of the things I would encourage you to do is, if that happens, like, maybe go back and watch, and I'm using Pooh Bear as an example for this reading, but maybe go back and think about the reading that you watched, however long ago. Maybe it applies more then. Like, be open to these signs, these synchronicities. Be open to the different ways that the universe can communicate with you, because it's not a human. It can't just say what it wants. So it's going to speak in different ways. And that sounds really, really out there. Trust me, I know. Again, this is what I've literally been focusing a lot of my time on, is these signs, synchronicities, these numbers. I've created my own system. I've created my own decks. This is what I believe. And your thoughts become things. So whether it's, a placebo effect in your own brain, that's why being positive is so important, because if you're going to plant a fake seed in your head, you might as well make it a good one. But your thoughts become things. Your thoughts impact your emotions impact your actions, and the actions that you take impact the final output. And that's kind of like the overall progression of the tarot cards. There's swords, cups, wands, and pentacles. And the swords are your thoughts, the cups are your emotions, the wands are your actions, and the pentacles are the actual tangible things you have to hold when all is said and done. Everything's on a cycle from 1 to 10. So that's something that I'll point out as readings go. But we are all here learning lessons. We are all here on these cycles. And you cannot step out of a cycle until you recognize there's a problem. I can't say it enough. Some people like to, kind of overlook things because, again, they don't want to make they don't want to rock the boat. But they're probably in really, really tough situations that aren't making them happy, that aren't going to help them grow into the person that they're meant to be and the person this universe needs right now. Because I believe that we are all here in this life, yes, but I believe that when I die, my heart stops beating, my eyes closed, I don't stop existing. I don't stop being. And that's that kind of energy is never created nor destroyed concept. I believe that I'm going to come back somehow, some way, in some life. And all of the things that I've had to go through here, all the karma I've built up, all the lessons I've learned, whether they are for this life or the next one, they're only for the betterment of the highest good of all. So with that said, I am going to be moving forward with readings by sign. Again, be open to watching more than just your sign. I do love this idea of twin flame readings. And if you've never heard of twin flames, that's okay. I encourage you to, I want to say do your own research, always do your own research. But the really, really super Spark Notes version of twin flames is one soul that's been split into two bodies that is here to learn about unconditional love. And unconditional love is the most pure thing on earth. That's the difference between holding on to somebody and holding space for somebody. It's the epitome of understanding. And these are love stories, yes, but it's more a love story about learning to love yourself. Because one of the biggest components of it is, union is obviously the ultimate ideal situation. But often these two individuals, even though they're here to learn similar lessons, they're here because they are one. So I'll say, the DM versus the DF. The DF is not DTF. It's the Divine Feminine or the Empress. The DM is not sliding into your DMs. It is the Divine Masculine or the Emperor. And they are counterparts. They are divine counterparts. These are divinely orchestrated unions, encounters. Usually they stumble upon each other by absolute chance. And it's not a happy love story. Sometimes they don't end up together, and that's okay because their love is all about unconditional love. It's recognizing that this person needed to learn different things, different ways in this life, but their love transcends lifetimes. Kind of like how people say, oh, they're a soulmate, I've known them forever. Yeah, that probably means that in another life you did know them. And soulmates don't necessarily have to be a romantic partner. A soulmate can be, anybody that is, yes, a certain kind of familiar that you've, transcended time with, but it's somebody that is here to support and teach you lessons in a very specific way that only that person can teach you. So, my parents are soulmates in a way. Some of my girlfriends are soul sisters, absolutely. But there's also a term I'll use called a karmic. And a karmic is somebody specific to the twin flame concept, who's really just meant to keep somebody in the wrong cycles. And they maybe, there are certain factors that appeal to somebody's ego, but ultimately they don't appeal to the person, or they don't appeal to the person's heart. And a lot of the decisions here are head versus heart decisions. And I've been leading with my heart, even though it hasn't made sense. I can't say it enough. Your head is logical, yes, but your heart knows what's right for you. And I've learned to trust my gut. I've learned the difference between fear and, being confident in my decisions by listening to my chest versus my gut. I've followed my path to do this even by saying what I know my heart knows as opposed to what my brain tells me. And so I really feel like a big part of this life is deciphering, what messages from yourself are fear-based and what are, love-based, because those are really the opposing energies that we're dealing with here. And I've got nothing but love for everybody because love is absolutely the answer. And actually, the first reading I have is for Aries, and the title of it is going to be Love Always Wins. So, yeah, I think that's what I got for now. I'm really excited to move forward with this. Again, thank you for being part of my wake. Thank you for allowing me to be, one of the things that makes waves in your world. I hope they're waves of positive change. Again, please like, share, subscribe to this channel. That's not why I'm here, but the more that you do that, the more it helps me to get messages to people who need to hear them, whoever that may be. And again, I can't thank you enough for your time. I can't thank you enough for believing in me. And I can't wait to see what else I've got to put out here. So thank you. Nothing but love. And I'll see you all soon.